Okay, we resume Meulefes Sappirim. We are on Yom HaSiri entry Chof. Because of a safer bracious after Beis on base, the Zohar and bracious Nun Beis on base says, Rav Shimon al Yosef, Yosef Osik Batar Balal Achad, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was sitting and learning Torah one night. Vayoshev Farav Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yitzchak, and sitting before him were Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak. I'm Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda says, Oksiv. It says in the pasuk. That's what I saw. I know, that Am Yisrael, the way Chazal translates that they lost their glory, their crowns of Nasr Nishra at Har Sinai. V'amrina, and we say, Shegamu Misa Lehem El Sashah Shechaz Lehem Zumasanachash, right? That they brought death upon themselves. Because you see, initially when they said Seven Nishma Pascha Zuamasan, you saw Shom Darsi Pascha Zuamasan, they got beyond the sin of Adam and they should have been immortal. So now with the sin of the golden calf, it all got reversed, and now they brought death upon themselves because the contamination of Adam Rishon was restored. The contamination of the snake made a comeback through the Chet Egel. So now this is all good by Klal Yisrael, we understand, because Klal Yisrael sinned. Good, but Yoshua wasn't on earth. He wasn't in heaven either. He was waiting on the mountain. Yoshua, stayed camped on the mountain, waiting for Moshe to return. Yoshua wasn't involved at all. He was on the mountain somewhere. Awaiting Moshe Rabbeinu's return. He was unaware of the whole story. So why did Yoshua lose his crown of Naasev and Ishma? Why does Yoshua become mortal? He wasn't involved in the sin. So if you want to say, well, maybe Yoshua Taka didn't lose his Keser Naasev and Ishma, right? So why did Yoshua die? Should have lived forever. You say, well, maybe Yoshua never got the Ksarim of Nasa and Ishma to begin with. All right, so it wasn't involved in sin. Maybe God did it, but why should that be? Yoshua is less of a tzaddik than all Am Yisrael that said Nasa and Ishma. What? Yoshua didn't say Nasa and Ishma. So Heshiv Rabbi Shimon v'Amar. So Rabbi Shimon answered and said, Shahatam hu sha'olam nido nacharu. You should know the way it works in life is that the world, when Ribbon Shalom gives judgment, either, and this the Rama brings this to halacha, Hilchos Tshuva. Just like on the individual, he goes by what the most of what he did. Everyone did some good things, but I call lech lefi rova maisa, right? Up here, rova olam nidon, right? So just that's the individual that's by the city. So there are some people who did good. If most people are evildoers, the city gets destroyed, right? And same thing, the country, same thing, the whole world. The world goes by the rove, right? Right. Right. So basically, what that means is that so let's say a city is now. Well, first of all, in the individual, if you did mostly bad, there's few good things you do aren't going to spare you. You'll get paid for them in Olam Haba, but they're not going to spare you from what was nigs on you because of what you did. That's mostly bad. A city that is meant to be destroyed because most inhabitants are evil. Anyone who insists on staying in the city is going to go down with the city. It's not fair. I didn't do the sins. Makes no difference. The city is judged by most of them. But by the way, that's the secret of why escaping could help. You say, well, every bullet's got an address. Not true. You might be escaping might help for you because maybe you're not part of the majority. So if you stay in the city, you'll indeed go down, right? And the people who are truly evil, their escaping won't help them. All right, of course, we'll catch up to them wherever they go. But if you are from the people you're just going down because most of the city's evil, that's why escaping could help you. Right? That's one of the explanations what they say about running away can help. Right? So basically, Yoshua, he suffered because he's part of the cloud. And the din is a fee, rova cloud. Vubore, now come and see. Kishchata Adam Beilon Shachoy Mano Garmlo Sayon Shishre Mavis Alkolam Vitalia Pagam Bilavana Acham Diso Har Sinai Zemagam Veira Lavana. Now take a look, says Reb Shimon. When Adam Rishon ate from the tree that he wasn't supposed to eat from, so he caused that, the Eitz Hadas, to become dominant in reality and put death on the whole world, and also that blemished the moon, right? Even though Miyud Hayarech happened before the sin of the Adam, but it made the Miyud Hayarech even more so, and we spoke about this Hanukkah time. We spoke about the end of Miyud Hayarech and why the Yevonim were goes there on Kiddush HaChodesh, which is the countermeasure for Miyud Hayarech. Which is the very first mitzvah we got as a nation, to undo Mirach. So the effects of Mirach became exponentially worse because of Chet Adam. And when Am Yisrael was up in Har Sinai, right, then Vusar Me'am Pgam Ve'ir Levana, so now they got rid of, the contamination side of him, and the moon was shining during that time from Maimed Har Sinai until Chet Ego. The moon was shining like it never did before since the sin of Adam. Now, when Am Yisrael sinned with the golden calf, so now the moon got blemished again, right? And no person could live forever. Kevin Sharov Nigzar Lava Nigzar Mesa Zulat Moshe. That's why somebody Shika. Right, so now Yoshua went down with the majority. Now, there's another thing that is being alluded to when it says Nifkama Halavana, the Levana got blemished, because the sins of Am Yisrael affect the whole cosmos. The cosmos goes Basar Yisrael, and the Din on Yisrael goes Basar Rov Am Yisrael. Okay, so now what's the moon? Who's like the moon? Yoshua. Yoshua was compared to the moon, as Moshe is compared to the sun. So it's kind of, I think the Zohar's, I think Rav Shimon Bar Chai is alluding to that. The moon got blemished, even though the moon didn't do Chet Ego. The moon didn't do Chet Ego, but the moon got blemished because of what Am Yisrael did. Yoshua's Nimshal Levana also got blemished because of their Chet. So now, other than Moshe, now Moshe was the great exception because Moshe did not lose his Ksar Nasser, just the opposite. He is the guardian of our Kisrei Nasser and Ishma, and also the beams of light that come out of his Karnei Hodes, all the Ksar of Nasser and Ishma are by him. And on Shabbos, he gives us back our crowns just for Shabbos. So Moshe indeed wasn't affected by the sin, and he didn't lose his crowns of Nasser and Ishma. He didn't lose the Madrege he was on as a result of Mamad Har Sinai. He didn't lose that Vatapo Amodi Mudi, right? And that's why he couldn't go back to his wife after Mamad Har Sinai, because he never went back down to that lower level ever, right? So why did Moshe die? He died Beneshi. He didn't die Bitzat, Chet Adam Rishon. He died because God kissed him and sucked the life out of him. Moshe did not die because he was contaminated. He had the shortcomings of mortality that come from Chet Adam Rishon. As the Zohar there says, is all alluded to, in Pnei Moshe K'Pnei Chama, the sun never was mitigated. Moshe is like the sun that never changes, and Pnei Yoshua K'Pnei Levana, which is the Tikkun al Levana is totally in the Tikkun of Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael goes down, they drag the moon down with it. Okay, Chof Aleph. Okay, so Sefer Bresh, Dafim Beis. So further over there in Sefer Bresh, just a few Dafim later, Nuneim Beis, it says, Mas Adam Rishon, Sher Began in Hori Lo Kadosh Baruch Hu, Sefer Ayidei Machamuna Al Razim, that when Adam Rishon was still in Gan Eden, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him an angel who is in charge of secrets of, the Torah, secrets of life. That's the Malach Raziel, right? Because he's in charge of Razim, of secrets. And he gave him this book that's full of secrets. Then this is the supposed Sefer Raziel HaMalach. Now, it's not the one that we have. The one that we have is clearly a bunch of excerpts from a lot of other Sfarim, even from the Rishonim, including from the Rokeach, as far as I know. But there was a original Sefer Raziel HaMalach given to Adam Rishon by the Malach Raziel. book full of secrets. That's always laid us. And now all the angels used to gather around Adam Rishon that he should read to them from the book and teach them secrets. Ruma Shemayim Elokim. Right, say, like they thought he was like a deity, let's say they want to say Shira to him, and they say, climb up to a mountain, Lord. I think that pasuk is, the Zohar that pasuk says that to allude to how so this guy belongs in heaven. This guy's saying such good stuff, right? I think that's the gist of it. At that point, Hashem sent a angel to hint to Adam Rishon to stop revealing. Speak cryptically, close it. Either don't reveal at all or speak in riddles, because the angels don't have reshus to know these secrets. Only you, Adam Rishon. Right? So keep the secrets to yourself. Now, Adam Rishon only had possession of his book until he was kicked out of Gan Eden. Right? Right? So now once he sinned so it's mashur that even if for the simplest reading Zohar, but I'm relying on the Meulefes Sappirim, it sounds that even though Adam Rishon were according to the Shita, so he was granted grace and he didn't have to leave Gan Eden until after Shabbos, but it seems that from the minute he sinned already, he lost the book. The book flew away from him because he wasn't worthy of it. And Adam Rishon was crying. He went into the Gichon up to his neck. Right? Right. He basically was, it wasn't Tvila, he was torturing himself. He stayed in water so much until his body became like rusty. I guess rusty, just like rust comes from metal cut through water, so whatever. However, the body gets ruined by being overexposed to water. And he lost his glow. At that time, Barsham gave a hint to a nudge to Malach Rafal, and Rafal, just like he is the Malach of Refuah, he restores all things. So the Rafal, the Malach of Refuah, gave him back that book. And Rishon used to learn from this sefer. And he gave it subsequently to Shais. But no, V'chein called Tolodos, and all the other generations. The book of secrets is handed down to the tzaddik of every generation. Until the sefer reached the hands of Avram Avinu. He knew how to use the book to learn about the glory of God. And Chanoch had this book also. Chof Beis. Chom Daf Bem Daud on Beis Medrash Rus. So I guess the Zohar's in two places. It's either Zohar Beis Bem Daud Beis. It's also a Medrash in Rus, which is Zohar Chodesh Rus. Tzadi Chesom Beis. We have Zohar Chodesh on Sefer Rus. So over there, it's Tzadi Chesom Beis. Of the Zohar Chodesh. Vadam lo zachar ta'isha miskenahu. It's a pasuk in Koheles, I think. No one remembered that poor man, right? Right. No one remembered that poor man that saved the city. I think that's the pasuk. You could check me on this. Like I always say, when I learn a sefer with you, I'm learning it b'chavrusa. I come in. I'm on equal footing with you. I'm coming in cold. Okay. So I believe that's a pasuk in Mishlei, which no one remembered that poor man who had saved the city. But the point of what Adam did not remember. No Adam. The Zohar is actually about to say to take the pasuk very, very literally. But it's similar. The gist of the pasuk is no Adam, as in no man, remembered that poor guy. So Ramash Rishon said it's Adam lo zachar. Adam didn't remember. Or she didn't remember. Lo says David I didn't shananim. He only gave David Melch 70 years, because he foresaw. Isha Miskain, the poor man, is David HaMelech, which by the way is the meat of Malchus. that he's the Makar, that Mida is called Dala Vania, Lesla Migarma Klum. It has nothing of it own. It only has what is mushba to it by the other Midas, Kayadua. So now Damach had nothing. I don't only didn't remember him beyond giving him 70 years. Well, so Kufshana. And Adonisha did not give him 100 years like he could have. So if Darmel had an extra 30 years to live, his chus and the things that would have happened would have been so great that the Beis Mikdash would have not been destroyed. I will venture to explain this. Again, I only have in front of me the material of the Sappirim, but it's a David of 70 years in Matakin, the 7 meters of Teva. Right now, and everything from the 8th and above, is Lamala Minateva. That's right, a very big Inyan. A person should want to reach Zikna because he's also bringing into his life and into the world, therefore, from the higher Midas Lamala. That's why a person, if he lives 70, that's called a full life. That's a full physical life. It was Matakin, the 7 meters of Teva. Chesed Gvur Tiveres, Netzachod Yesod Malchus. You're all big Gvuras, Shmonim, Shana. Right, you're bringing in higher. You're bringing from Gvura Ilah, which is Bina, right, 8th, and then 90 you're bringing from Chachma, right, and then if you're Zohar, that's like Mea Ka'avar V'Batam in Olam. So it's like the Sfarim say that at 80, at 100 years old, like there's nowhere to go from there. It's like Avar Min Olam. You have nothing more to contribute. You've already brought into the world as much as the world can take. You're already brought into Lamala Minateva, so it's like 100. So now if David HaMelech would have had 100 years, he would have been so much tikkun from Midas HaMalchus, which is the Beis HaMikdash, or the Shechina's Malchus. He would have added all of the dimensions of Lamala Minateva into the Teva, and then the Beis HaMikdash would have never been destroyed. Right? Chav Gimel, all kinds of Sefer Bereshit Daf paid out. Aleph. So Sefer Bereshit paid out. Says Hiksha asks the kasha like this, because the post says Voshia leben amisechad. Omar says Hakadosh Baruch Hu saved the son of your maidservant. Why is he want to be saved in the name of his mother? He was the son of Yishai. To add to what the Tsar is asking, Yishai is considered to be one of the people that died without a single sin. So why is he leben amisechad, ben avdecha? Yishai. Why is he ignoring Yishai? He's the son of Yishai, who was one of the biggest tzaddikim of all time. So we can't hold Shirin Bar Yochai. So from here, Rav Shirin Bar Yochai learned. Ki kishi avodam li zochar so based in Shomal yasker davar shu vada yoser chenisker imo. When a person wants to be remembered by Beis Din Shomala for good, like when we daven everything, whenever you want to daven for refuah, right? Or for any Yeshua, you always give your mother's name, right? When it's too late, when you're Lachar Me'av Esrim, so the Azkara, the Ashkava, right? It's always going to be Ben, your father's name. And while you're still alive, and it's for Brachot, the Yeshuot, it's mother's name, right? Right? But it's a Zohar saying a fascinating thing. You have to be Masre, which is more for sure, and therefore mention your mother. Mention your mother. This is wild. I'm so glad that I chose to learn the Sefer because I'm learning a lot of new Zars I wasn't aware of. So taking this literally, it's going on what the Gemara says in Kiddushin. When Yichus, listen, you know who your mother was. That's who you popped out from, right? Your mother's your father. How do you know your father's? Rov Bila Sachar Abal. If she was married to him, so Rov Bias came from him. You can't know for sure. She, God forbid, we shouldn't suspect, but it's not impossible she had an affair, right? God forbid, but Rov Bias Acharabal, unless you know otherwise, Rov Bias didn't Roiv, right? And that's what it is. Cycling out a Roiv, you could give skiliv on Rov and Chazaka, because look, if you have to give a person skila for beating up his father, not I don't know, whatever the ownish is for Makkah Aviv, whatever the ownish is. It's all based on Roiv, Roiv Bezachar Abal. So it's an amazing thing, even though and this Zohar is a Pella, because it all goes by human perspective. For sure your Ben, your mother was a good woman. So be masker your mother. because that, for sure, even though to Shemaim, they're equally certain of who your father is and who your mother is. All right, but tefillah goes with the way you think. Now, this is a very big yesod. I'm sorry, I know we should be covering ground, but I can't help but comment. This Zohar is mind-blowing because it overlaps with two things. First, let's talk more seriously, right? That tefillah goes by your perception, right? The reason, it's not the pshat that Rebbe can't change the past, right? But you can't daven for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to change the past. That's called tefillah shav. Right? The past shouldn't be the past. You can't. It's tefillah shav. Not because Rebbe can't, but by our perception, it's impossible. We're not serious. We can't ask for a nes nigla because by our perception, I mean, it's not the same. To daven at the past should be the past, not be the past. Rebbe should change history. That's a tefillah shav. That's mamish also. Right, that would, but that it asks for nes niglas achuke klape shmaya. But Rebbe could change the past. Rebbe Shalom could do a revealed miracle just as he does that. But lefi our hasaga, lefi our tfisa, there's a difference. Lefi our tfisa, changing the past is not possible. Lefi our tfisa, and nes nigla is more complicated. Than asking for Yeshua b'derech hateva. For Rebbe there's no difference. But lefi our tefisa, there's a difference, and that's why all darkei avoda between us and Hashem is all lefi our tefisa. We spoke about that by the yard side of my Rebbe Moshe Shapiro. Because and there's a good reason for that this tefisa, which is us, our perception should merge with His reality, right? So we serve Hashem with the tefisa to merge our tefisa with His reality. I refer you all to the yard side share I gave this year from my Rebbe Moshe Shapiro, right? So that's one big yesod that's being said here. Like, so even though the Rebbe knows that Yishai is your father, just as certain as he is sure that whoever it was your mother, right? But you don't know, so you have to serve Hashem with your das, And halacha is all perfectly patterned to human das, for sure. But like I said, there's I have a few different. There's many shmuzin on this. It's a very big shmuz actually in the Torah of Dish B'Tzor Ratzin, where you have to serve Hashem with this das that He gave you, right? And therefore, according to das, our das, your mother's vada, your father is roiv. So now. Now I'm taking a lot more seriously a story attributed to the Brisker Rav, right? I don't know if it's true or not, because I don't know if the Brisker Rav would be, I think Brisker Rav, it's a story they say about the Brisker Rav, and I don't know if it's true simply because the Brisker Rav was a very, very careful with every word that came out of his mouth, that he wouldn't say something that's a little bit racy. Yeah, but it is a genius story, right? So the halacha is when your mother and father are still married to each other, right? Yeah, it should always be that way, should be zocha, right? So as long as they're married together, your mother asks for something, your father asks for something. Who do you serve first? Your father. Shata vimcha chayavim bichvodo, right? Because you and your mother are obligated to serve. So that's halacha. God forbid there's a divorce. Right, so and your father and your mother ask you for something at the exact same time, and they're not married to each other. You have to flip a coin. You have to ask them, which one is willing to wait a minute, because you are equally obligated to serve both of them. Because your mother is not kafuf to your father if she's not married to him. Okay, but as far as ask your local posting if God forbid ever happens. Okay, but the. I guess over there you serve the one who asked you first, and if they're divorced. But anyway, I'll call upon him if your mother's married to your father and they both want something, you have to do your father first, and it's a svara. Because she's obligated to serve him also, so long as she's married to him. So she's so therefore you serve your father because you're why? Because of cover your mother, but she's also obligated to serve your father. That's why her cover can't delay you doing the ratzon of your father because she's obligated to serve your father also. Good. It's all built on svara. So they asked the Brisker Rav supposedly when he was a kid, the following guy, if it's all built on svara, I'll give you a svara the other way. Your mother's vada, your mother, because that's who you popped out of. Your father is your father. Only midin roiv bila sachar abal. right? So the also say a svara fakert. You should serve your mother first because she's vada your parent. Your father is only piroiv your parent. So let's as the Brisker Rav, as a kid said, what type of covet is it to my mother that I should serve her first and accentuate and be madgish that my father is only my father bidin roiv. Right. I don't think I have to explain that. My only reason, I could believe that is the sharpkeit, the sharpness of the Brisker Rav. But I just, other stories that I heard about the Brisker Rav, he just didn't talk that way. It was very nizzer, but it's cute. And as soon as I learned the Zorro together with you guys, I immediately thought of that story of the Brisker Rav. Well, all right, we'll do one more. We're on a roll. Because of the Sefer Shemais, it says Sefer Shemais, Tafshin Tesem Alav, Zachar Levinod Lo Ben, she's now Bekol Gadol. Amr Zohar, they got he had a son. This week's parsha, I'm now recording this the day after we read Shmos. First week of Shovim. Make sure to catch my Shovim Shirim on this channel also. So it says, Sefer Shmos, the Amr Zohar, he had a son that had prophecy Bekol Gadol, right? Moshe Darvel Kimyan Neno Bekol, right? Vam Zochal Basko, right? Amram he's a Baal Ruach HaKodesh, but not like Moshe was on the greatest Navi, he got Kol Gadol, right? The level of Kol Gadol by Mamed Arsina, which we had just a taste of it and we couldn't handle. That was the standard level of Nevuah by Moshe Rabbeinu. Always that level of Kol Gadol. He was always on that high level, right? Amram was Zocher to Basko. Nice. Amram wasn't even a Navi anywhere closer. He didn't have the Kol Gadol. He had a Basko, right? Which like it sounds, the daughter of a Kol. Then that's what the Zohar says. Bas Levi, daughter of Levi, is going to the level of Basko. I guess Levi because Yapam you love it, Isha, that's being close to Hashem, like whole Shevet Levi is. He took Bas Levi that he got, the level Basko, but Vayelech, he steigt, Halach V'isik Madregazos, Amram, what the Torah says is that L'Shevach, the common thing is that he had divorced Yocheved and Miriam made him go back. That's Vayelech. But the Zohar is saying the Darshan that he steigt, Vayelech, he went. Mi madre like in bechukosai telechu. Shetiu amem tar yelchu mechal. He was holach v'hisig madrega zos of Basko. All right, we'll stop here for today.